Are you toxic because you want to change, or you are toxic because somebody else did it and it was not you who did it? Are you angry because somebody you thought shouldn't be doing what he's doing did it? Or you are doing it genuinely for generations to benefit? I would want us to talk about toxic triads. You can get a copy of this book. My book is on Amazon. You can get a copy. There is an electronic version and there is a hard copy that you can get. It is called the title is The Toxic Trials. And we go through it. So, resolving the toxic trials from accusation to collaboration in the age of artificial intelligence. Now, the question is, then what are the triads, as one would ask? The triads are these three categories I talked about: generative artificial intelligence, detective artificial intelligence, and the human expert. So the generative AI is the worker, and the detective AI is the accuser, and then the human expert is the judge. Now, the question is, the generative AI is accused as a worker that tells lies. And the punitive accuser, which the cyber security and all that, they would want to call it with different names. And he is accuser. Then the human expert, who can be a person, can be institutions like the universities, research companies, or the journals and all that. Now, all these three, are they without biases? No. They all have their biases. They have interest. So let's take the first two, the generative AI and the detective AI. So one AI does the work, and the second AI accusing of either stealing, of either doing something wrong. So one AI, another AI accusing each other. So let's say this AI is accusing, generative is here, and then detective is here. Detective is saying, hey, you are telling lies. Everything you are saying is not true. And then why are you doing that? That is somebody's work and all that. So he's accusing. So plagiarism comes into the situation. And, one thing I've realized, and people have maybe also realized, is that in this life, whatever you do, there will be opinions. But don't kill yourself because somebody said you have copied. I always ask a question: if we're all genuine, then good morning in English, Dobroho Ranko in Ukrainian, and then Guten Morgen in German language, and there are various languages like the Chime Mache and all that. Then we have to reference these things to God Almighty. If nothing at all, we should reference it to Adam because he was the first person who said it. So then whoever uses it should say it and mention it in Adam. If we are genuine and we are fighting a genuine cause, and then that would also be so much important. But you see, there is a saying, a saying in Ghanaian language, and says, if something is to somebody, you think it's to a tree or something that has no pain receptors. But when it happens to you, then you really appreciate that it's painful. We hide under titles and the words to discourage people for the good things they're doing. Because you see, it's like a child or a student who is curious and who want to find out things. The colleagues who might not have time and think they are tired or would want to go home would accuse this colleague of trying to know all or trying to show off and all that. These are things to kill his confidence. But some of these people who could stand some of those words are today achievers and have created a lot of things. So the question is, every other thing. So if you cannot do something and somebody does it, should it be a problem? And so you see, everybody, anything is now labeled as AI. AI. Of course, artificial intelligence will not replace human being. It would rather enhance our works. So you have to learn it because technology would always evolve and new things will come up. Because if you follow history, there's technology positivists and then technophobia. Technophobias are afraid of technology. So the acceptance is not that readily there, but with time, because everything that started had people accusing it. But the same very people ended up using it. Should we say that everything should be left unchecked? No. But when you set a paranoid system that flags everything as a copy work or uh, taken from somebody, then that is not fair to the people who are creative. But the question is, a project starts with a question. Now, would the artificial intelligence ask the question for you? This is something you should ask yourself. Now, when you have a question, don't you use tools? The various researchers were using Microsoft Word processors and using Excel and all that to do their work. Because most of the research tables and all that use softwares. Why don't you use your own fingers to do it and you're using those softwares? You have used them also. You, the accuser, you use it. You know that there are a lot of researches, tools that we use in research and in writing. So why do you want to label a part that maybe you don't know how to use as so much negative? Excel came to actually help with this accounting system, and also other softwares helped with a bigger data set that you couldn't have actually calculated in a few minutes, but use such softwares to do it. So one thing people might not have realized is that these are politics. The institutions are trying to defend their interest. There is no much transparency. And so that is how come it's become a blame game. Oh, he used AI. He's using AI. So what? Use it too if you know how to do it. If it were that easy, you are abusing these young men who are trying to get something. Must we always hold everybody together? Because must everybody pass through your institution? Should things be done the same way you do it? God created the earth and he didn't limit man. So the fact that you are able to gather a protocol to follow should not be that no other person should think outside what you believe in. But unfortunately, most people are enrolled to support such things, which doesn't really make sense. But then nobody's talking about it. Everybody's hiding behind envy, pain, to use such words. Young men and women are achieving a lot with these tools. No matter what, the artificial intelligence have come to stay. The same thing was the fight maybe you and your ancestors threw and then was actually fighting. But still, typewriter came, computer came, imaging came, and then it's helping in the various fields and aspects of life or spheres of life. Please, let us be sensitive about matters. And then, somebody can pursue somebody with accusations of plagiarism and also copying and all that. And people who cannot take it may take their life. But let me assure you one thing. Who watches the watchman? Don't kill yourself because somebody is accusing you. You know what you, of course, sentences are the same. So the words and the sentences I'm using here, somebody might also use it somewhere else. Are we copying ourselves? Why are we acting as if we don't have a way to learn and to say things? Would you change good morning in English with another word? Maybe in dialect, yeah, in various languages, it will not be good morning. But what are we doing to ourselves? And then the discussion should be centered around the ethical use of these tools. But it shouldn't be limited as if we are sweeping everything under the carpet. Blockchain came. There were local blockchains long time, and now blockchains are helping us to keep data and to stop people from actually falsifying and changing things once it has been stored. That's why cryptography is also there to help us. Sometimes it's easy to blame people than to even start or take a step to solve a problem. Because a question comes first, an idea comes when you have a question as to how do I solve this problem? And then if the idea is worked through and a solution is found, then it can actually help other people to also use it. And then you have answered somebody's question in this world. But just to be throwing people under the bus, trying to, demean people with those those kind of words that doesn't really matter. Ask yourself, are you doing something to help the world, or yours is just to sit on the fence and blame everybody? People you even know that have knowledge, some of them, say have knowledge than you. You go and sit somewhere and talk them down because everybody's saying that it's AI, so you're also saying it. Do you know the importance of this AI? One AI accusing the other, then say, I'm a cyber security, and so when certain things we do, we find this. It's just a bluff. Because at the end of the day, these algorithms are not verdicts. So the fact that a detective AI flags something is not a verdict. Because we all know how the processes that one needs to take through before you come or you arrive at a judgment. So sometimes it's unfortunate that people take some of these things and then just make it so loud as if it is a verdict. So generative AI has its part it's playing. Detective AI has its part it's playing. And then the human aspect or the judge has his or her part as well. Nobody, all of them have their biases. None of them is free. Sometimes these human aspects, so-called, are so much biased that they are against AI. So how will they come to judge it in the favor of it? So please let us think through what we do to people. You cannot. You see, sometimes people forget these promotional titles are not skills themselves. So let's say somebody say a chief executive officer of a company is equal to a professor in a university, because you have to run through lecturer, senior lecturer, assistant professor, some use it associate before you become professor. It is not directly proportional to knowledge. No. It is a promotion based on institutional standards that you should be there. But when we make it sound as if when you're a doctor or you're a professor, then you carry all the knowledge. That is the false information we are throwing out there. We don't even clarify the situation, so we are not genuine ourselves. Sometimes some of us academics, we are not genuine. We just want to talk people down. And so we do what we do. You yourself, you use various softwares. You use various search engines to do your research. And why is it that somebody else cannot use other tools that will help him or her to do it? So, this how do you resolve this toxic triads? How do you resolve this toxicity that's actually destroying and is actually going to slow growth? How do you work with that? We just need to be faithful to ourselves. So, in fact, in my book, if you get a copy of this toxic triad, it talks about none of them is absolute. And all of them have their negatives and their positives. But how to balance these kind of actions so that we build a world with, good actors, that we don't just sweep people under the carpet because of our interest. that we are all transparent. Institutions must also be transparent so that the concerns that we have would be genuine. You don't hide protocols and come and accuse people publicly. Let us be truthful to ourselves. Do all teachers use the books? I mean, do they write the books they used to teach? No. They use authors' books and other research to teach. And so, what is it? That we are trying to accuse people and then make things. Okay, so let's say because of technology, everybody can have a smartphone and all that. I think human beings have come so far than to just belittling ourselves with some of these arguments we do. So the generative AI is being blamed always. That is doing, I mean, it's uncontrollable, it's doing whatever we want. And these detective AIs, sometimes they are set to 90% in that kind of paranoid status, so that everything will be, I mean, let's say 80% of your work is being handled by such a detective AI. Then what do you think would come up of it? Let us stop being, if you are genuine, all books must reference God. If you are genuine, because it is God who created heaven and earth. And truth is actually knowledge dependent. If you know any study that has disproved the existence of God with such a calculation, you can let me know. We all know that people have different beliefs, but please, we ourselves, are we honest? How many research work would you see God referencing it? Don't get me wrong, some research do. Some questions arose from the Bible. Do you reference the Bible in your scientific research? Should it be the source of your question? Have you done that? And then you see, when people get power, they forget that you're not going to be in this position forever. It will change no matter what. And so your time, you're taking decisions to destroy the work of others. But you, the same person, you are hoping to receiving something good in life. So that is what I would like to say, that let us stop belittling people and then throwing jargons of things we cannot do ourselves. There are things you cannot do. You cannot do it. As you're talking about it, some of the experts don't even understand this AI. They don't even understand the technical thing behind it. But they are just swimming in with a fear that they will lose their work. Of course, there are many informations out there. Then that is how come we have to help. If you say it's wrong, come with your proof. You don't really just jump in and then, unfortunately, you see, let us be truthful to ourselves as academics and also scientists and all that. Stop the envy and look at matters that would help advance humanity. Don't just, I mean, so, I was looking at it and says that, for example, here, I was saying that the professor can fail or can fall prey to actually institutional groupthink. You see, because it's a policy, so even if he knows the truth, he cannot say it. The physician can actually also sometimes misunderstand things because of tiredness or work overload. Researchers can misread. It's possible. The judges can allow personal biases to taint legal, interpretations as well. Theologians can substitute rigid traditionalism for living truth. So, everybody is not like, if you follow history and check what has happened, every technology has been met with that kind of force thing. But you see, a part of my book I want to share with you, we must accept fundamental distinctions with absolute clarity. Statistical probability is not equal to forensic proof. Algorithm is not equal to empirical intent. And machine learning is not equal to judicial verdict. But you send your work there and somebody's going through, say, here was Rejects him because he's using a system. He's not even using his mind. He's using a system that has been built by somebody to judge others. And then he's expect. Nobody has come at him. And yet, he has the, the effrontery to actually express such things and confuse the world. Nobody has it all. Nobody has it all. We are all complementing and then supporting each other to reach the life we want for our societies. We should not, you don't have to do that. Bible says that in Isaiah, my people are destroyed for lack of knowledge. Sometimes you think you are doing well for the world, but you're actually killing creativity and actually delaying people from moving forward. And then the public think that, he has it all. It's a lie. Nobody has it all. We work together, and then we have to stop all this kind of unnecessary pressure we put on people, and then be careful about what we do to others. Because you work in a university, so anybody who doesn't work, you are defending your interest. Okay, then you're actually not helping the world. Let us be truthful, because every institutions are. So all institutions have their own interest. We know that these three persons or these three groups: generative AI, detective AI, the human aspect, all of them have their mistakes. None of them is absolute. They all make mistakes. So don't be afraid. AI will not take you out. If your skill is old or obsolete, please, it's better you upskill yourself, because everybody's thinking about how is it possible? We all have laptops and computers. Do you all know how to use it equally? We all have pens we use to write. Are the pens not the tools we're using to write? Do we write the same? No. So should we say that because of that, every pen is bad? We have to look at it. But I was just trying to say in my book, I make a little bit to bridge the gap between technophobic paralysis and proactive governance. Society must adopt a model of direct, epistemic engagement. So I was trying to bring some concern, not absolute, but some. If the concern is systemic algorithmic danger, then the rational response may be to establish explicit research into safety and risk containment. If the concern is generative inaccuracy and hallucination, then we should have a rational response, like as engineer superior multi-layered forensic verification models. If the concern is catastrophic labor reduction, then we can think about rapidly upskill workers to command collaborative technologies. And if the concern is the erosion of academic and professional integrity, here is where most people are actually doing on. The concern is that there may be erosion of academic and professional integrity. If that is your concern, then one probable, let's say, rationale would be to codify transparent, evidence-based, and fair institutional policies. Fair institutional policies. We need to pay attention to all that. And if your concern is realizing genuine technological advantages, then deploy generative models within strict ethical guardrails. So we just have to be careful. There are a lot of things happening, but don't suppress people. Don't think that you can sit in a position to make others feel so painful. People are committing suicide. They are dying because of an accusation. But let me say to us, Jesus Christ did nothing but was accused. He was accused all over the place. So when people accuse you, please, I know it's not easy. Sometimes it can be tough, but when people accuse you, please don't take your life. Don't kill yourself. Don't kill yourself because somebody is just pointing a finger at you. Keep on doing what you're doing. I always tell colleagues, when the peer review is important, but it is not the ultimate. Sometimes you meet crazy guys, excuse me to say, who are trying to pull your work down and all that. There are a lot of good researches that are not actually being published because of somebody's selfish interest. Channel your writings into book, educate the world. Because I know if you work in such institutions like the university and all that, you need papers for promotion. So it becomes either you publish or you perish. And now most universities have seen that they rank with the titles professor. So there's a mass promotion that they are giving everybody as a professor. It's not bad, don't get me wrong, to be. It is okay. But don't let it sound as if it is directly proportional to, intelligence and knowledge. You may be holding areas of us. I'm a physician. I'm a medical doctor. I wouldn't know everything equally. Even though I've been taught everything, I cannot remember everything at the go. So, that's why we collaborate with each other to do whatever we're doing. So please, let us take it in that form. But when somebody's accusing you, please don't kill yourself. I'm begging you, don't kill yourself. When somebody says you don't matter, don't kill yourself. You matter, really. Sometimes about location. Maybe you have not found the area where they would take you so much seriously. Please, please. I know sometimes people have venom in their mouths and they can say things to hurt you. But please don't kill yourself. Because if you don't die, you don't know what awaits you the next second. Every second we become older, and every minute we become older. We get older every moment. And so please get a copy of the How We Can Resolve This Toxic Triad. Generative AI, detective AI, human expert, none of them is superior. They all have their faults and mistakes. So it's better we have to work together to reconcile these three and then to get things right as we move forward. And that would help. So resolving the toxic triad is to help you to understand that the technology positivists and then also the phobias, technophobias, can all sit down and reconcile and do some reductions and all that. So we come together to build a very wonderful world that we have all hoped for. And I believe that from today onwards, you'll be careful with your choice of words. You'll be careful with your accusations. Because actually, the detective AI doesn't say it's a verdict. It is just, you should check the systems and look at the level of paranoid in it. Because when you set a system to 60 to 80% with that kind of paranoid thing, you know, you accuse everybody, almost everybody. A time will come, we can take all the researches and subject to this detective AI, including the judges or the human expert who are talking it down. Most of them's work will be flogged also as well. It will be flagged as also a patriotic or something like they copied somebody's work. Please, people use 2 papers to become professors. Today, they are demanding 21 papers in some institutions, others are demanding 100. So do you think that the one who used one and the one who is using 21, everything happened at a time? And so we should be careful about the things we do. And so I would say that let us support ourselves. If you don't know how to do things and want to learn, better learn and be encouraged. It's sad to hear some people dying because of accusation. Please, don't. 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 Because the person accusing you has his own fault. He's hiding it. Don't at all. The supervisor has the power, and so he's throwing back and forth, canceling your work and all that, frustrating you. But this same person is hoping for a better life. How do you frustrate somebody and hope for a better life? Think about it. And so that would help. My name is Dr. William Lamptey, holder of Doctor of Medicine degree, Doctor of Theology, Doctor of Ministry, and then Tropical Medicine, Public Health, Training Surgery. I teach general medicine in English and in Deutsch, especially those who are taking the first language exam. And I've been teaching, kids since 1997. I've been teaching KG1 kids, KG2 through to the senior secondary school, teaching my mates also, even in the medical school and after. And so I love teaching and I love sharing. I wouldn't, I learned from a lot of people also as well. And then, I train also in a laboratory, so I always sometimes have my microscope with me, just a very small one. And then I look at certain basic things. So I don't really, because I train as a science laboratory technologist as well. So then I'm a multi-professional. It's okay if you're also doing one, because everybody and his energy and what they want to diverse into. So there are people who are single or multi-professionals. And I'm an author of over 27 books, independent publisher on Amazon, Google Play Books, a musician, written a couple of songs that I compose and play. In my free time, I play piano and also try to, think about the goodness of God. Do you know that you're wonderfully made? It doesn't matter what you have now, what you're going to have tomorrow. God loves you. And God would actually assist you when you trust Him. So in the book, there's a lot of biblical support. So when you're reading the book, it comes in context with actually the biblical support, the Word of God, to science, to accusations, to collaborations, and all that. You will enjoy it. It's for everybody. Let us read and let us decrease our toxicity. Let us reduce and resolve this toxic tide. Let us stop accusing everybody of doing something wrong. As I'm speaking, or somebody can say it's even an AI. That's the choice they do. But then if you face this person live with questions, he can't even answer the questions you have for him. I can remember there was a time a scientist who came to me as a patient, and he came with a lot of biochemical thing. I listened to him, but he didn't know that we have all learned this biochemistry for years. Then when we began to talk to a extent of even asking about electrolyte speed, he didn't know what it's like. Okay, then I have to understand that in life, never, you see, in life, never look down on anybody. Work with people. As a medical doctor, I've met different people. There was a case that was actually sad. A patient that had polytrauma was beaten, terribly. We had to rush this patient to do external physics to get his bones together. Everywhere was broken. In fact, nobody thought he would survive. Then after working on this patient, a group of policemen walked in, picked this patient when I was going to rest after several hours of doing this. And then I was called, "Doctor, your patient has been picked." Came to meet this man, was thrown. I asked him, "Why? Which law permits you to do this? If you think he's a thief or something, bring somebody to sit here with him. But why treat him as if he's an animal?" And then the police said, "I stood in front of the car." Said, "Well, you hit me and go. Because so far as is my patient, I will not allow you to take him in this terrible condition." He was not stable, but they're careless about it. And then I would urge all my colleagues, the neurosurgeons and other orthopedic or trauma surgeons, that let us speak against these things when people are being bullied. Why do you slap somebody who is in a handcuff? Doesn't make sense. Why are you increasing the pressure in his head? Why are you slapping people? So you have put a person in handcuff, he was not aggressive, and you're still slapping. Why don't you talk about all these things and get these people either demoted or punished? If it's actually getting on your nerve and it's aggressive, there should be evidence. But now everybody just think that he can manhandle anybody and go away. And all these things are there. We're not talking about it. We just jump on other toxicity and then trying to kill people's creativity. If you know any AI that when you sit down, you don't talk, you open your eyes and it does everything for you, you can say. Because if you don't have a question, you don't have an idea, it will not do anything for you. So you see, I will not say that it should not be, governed or, controlled. It should, but we should do it. We have to exercise restraint and also do it with respect. That one day we would all love the world we want to see. Thank you very much. Diakuyo, danke, medase. That's the Ghanaian language. Niwaladon, that's the Ghan one. So the tree is medase. And then we would discuss the next one. But you can get a copy of how we can resolve these toxic triads. It's, teachers are stopping students, you cannot use AI. But why? We use engines like Google Scholar, Mesh, and all that, and Notes and that to do research. And so let them use it. So you know the correct thing. Let them use it. So when they come and they say you know the correct thing, you correct them. Why? If they come with wrong information, you correct them. And that's what we should do. Yeah, and so I believe that God will guide all of us, guide our conscience, that we don't become gastrophilic just because of our stomach and what we eat, and then throw everybody under the bus. Thank you. Get a copy of Resolving the Toxic Triad. There's a lot in this book, fascinating, that you really enjoy. I know it's not all the arguments there are in the world, but it would help you to understand and to free your mind from the oppressors. Thank you.